Hi everybody, this is Ev Zervadakis and welcome to my channel, Holistic Healing Astrology. Today we're going to talk about Mercury Retrograde, and I'm sure everybody's heard about Mercury Retrograde, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, I am a transformative astrologer, which means that I like to take everything that's in your chart, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we transform it into the best joyful life that you were meant to have coming to this earth. So let's take care of a couple of other things on my list of things to do. So before we get started, I wanted to remind you to check out the website, holistichealingastrology.com, and you can find out a lot more about me. And if you'd like to get a free copy in your inbox with your emails, you do so by clicking on email and send me a little note saying newsletter and your address, and you'll get it right away. And I'll put you on my list. So it's very easy. I hope you find them informative. I get a lot of feedback from the newsletters, and I also answer a lot of the questions that come from the newsletters on these videos. So let's go into the content today. So if you understand what I'm saying and you like what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give me a heart or even a thumbs up. And I'd love to know what your moon sign is, especially your Mercury, because we're talking about Mercury. We're also going to talk about the stellium, which is another segment of this YouTube. So there's a lot going on, and I've also been asked to do a little bit of a do-it-yourself teaching series for the YouTube, so that will be coming up. And I've skipped a lot of information because I just assume everybody knows. Well, if you've been studying this for 50 years the way I have, you'd you see why, sometimes I don't even think, oh yeah, 360 degrees in a circle, we divide that by 12 signs and 12 houses, so we get 30 degrees in each sign and house. And that's how you find your sign and your planets and all that other stuff. So I apologize for taking too much for granted here, but I love the questions coming in. So what's happening with Mercury retrograde right now? And Mercury will go retrograde. Let me look on my chart. I don't want to say the wrong information, but that's all in my newsletter as well. And so it looks like Mercury is retrograde, first one this year. It's going to be 26 degrees, 29 minutes of Aquarius on January 30th. And it will go direct February 21st, and it will be at 11 degrees Aquarius. So if you notice, 26 is after 11, so that's why it's going backwards. So we'll talk now about how that happens. How that happens is, okay, I'm going to show you a chart here, and you see the wheel. All the different colors represent a sign, and all these lines represent houses. And what happens is you have this particular person has, it's my daughter's, has all these planets scattered around. So what we do with the Mercury retrograde, we find the Mercury, let's say it's here, and it isn't. But when it goes retrograde, instead of going forward, which is this way, it's going to go forward, which is this way, and it's going to go backwards, and then it's going to go forwards again. So what happens is it already went forward, it went through these different segments here of the chart, and then it's going to go backward through more space in the chart as it journeys along, and then it will go forward again. So your energies are going to come up 3 times. It's a great learning experience, and you could find it on your chart and see where you're going to be learning. So that's how the Mercury goes retrograde. And Mercury represents intelligence, it represents information, it represents networking, all these energies of quick, it's a quick energy. If I've told it before, but if you ever cracked open those old-fashioned thermometers with the mercury in it, that metal, it bounces around. So Mercury does not like to go slowly, and it doesn't like to go backwards, because it likes to go fast, lightning fast, and forward. That's the type of energy. So when you slow it down, it's very difficult to harness that energy. Now, the other thing with the Mercury retrograde, we have to look at, well, what sign is it in? It left Capricorn, and which is a heavy earth. Think of a big boulder. It's very difficult to move fast when you're talking about a big boulder, but now it's in an air sign. So it's just like very quick, lots of information and tons of information. So what does it mean when it's retrograde energetically? Well, let's wait one moment. If you were born with a Mercury retrograde, guess what? It's not all as bad as people make it out to be. Like, don't sign any contracts. Don't drive your car. I'm being extreme, but if you listen to a lot of astrologers, they're telling you, don't do anything. Don't have surgery. Yeah, that's probably true. It's not optimal. Let's use the word optimal. But is it realistic not to drive anywhere, not to sign anything, not to turn on your computers that has to do with communication? All electronics are going to go haywire. Well, it can't be all that bad. It may happen. I mean, I've had Mercury retrograde issues 2 weeks ago. I was typing up my newsletter, spent a good amount of time, my fault. I'm not used to saving on the GoDaddy host. I'm used to working on my Mac. I should have done that on the Mac pages first. But, we're creatures of habit, and I wasn't saving it every 2 seconds. Now I do, but I had to redo the whole thing. But it's a time when we reflect on the past. We look at all the energy of Aquarius. So what is energy of Aquarius? It is awakening. It is genius. It's the little different. So look around and see what's being focused on right now. The different types of people, the different thinking, an awakening. All the truth is starting to be revealed. Electronics, big discoveries. Look how fast they got this vaccine formulated and everything. This is the first. I'm not saying how safe it is or anything like that. I'm assuming that it is, but 20, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when they were doing these kinds of things, it was a slower process. But everything is moving quicker. Look at our cell phone. On one little device, you could do all this stuff. So that's the energy of Aquarius. It also has to do with humanitarian efforts. It has to do with society, community, groups. So you could see out there's a lot of group activity. One group over here, another group over there. So this communication with Mercury going retrograde is a time for everybody to reflect, to review, to reanalyze, to all the words, anything re. And you can look at the newsletter and, it's further explained in there. But Mercury is about communication, networking. It's also, you could reunite with old groups, reunite with groups, old friends, old boyfriends, remarry your husband, ex-husband, stuff like that. So that's what that energy is about. I don't like to get hung up on, you can't do this, and it doesn't offer a realistic approach to life. yeah, we're living in the real world where, we wake up and we have things to do. We can't turn around and say, well, Mercury's retrograde for a whole month, and it happens about 3 to 4 times a year. So I guess we're in big trouble. I'm going to just cocoon myself and isolate. That's not what it's about. But I'm going to add one more thing that's going on with the Mercury retrograde. Just to give you an idea, like I'm isolating, taking out one little planet in the whole solar system that they're all moving at different speeds, different paces around their own little track. And sometimes they bump into each other, sometimes they're across from one another, sometimes they're at right angles to one another, sometimes they're smooth flowing angles, and all that means something in astrology. So it's a layering of tons of information that the astrologer processes. So in order to do a video that is doable as far as time constraints, we have to isolate what we're focusing on, but we always have to keep in the back of our mind that even though Ev right now is talking about Mercury retrograde, there's a lot more stuff going on. So let me share with you the big emphasis. So we zoomed in, like we're zooming in with a microscope on oil immersion, way down deep. We're going to take a really close look at what happens with Mercury retrograde. But now we're going to zoom out and we're going to look at it from outer space. We're going to look at the whole big picture. So what is happening right now, the whole big picture? Well, we've got many other planets in Aquarius. So what else do we have in Aquarius? I'm going to go down the line. We have Saturn in Aquarius, which means all this constraint, isolation. There's going to be a huge awakening with paternal energies, wisdom, being wise, even time factors. This is all Saturn type energy. It's slow, it's methodical, that is Saturn energy. But it's in Aquarius, but used to be the old ruler, the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So that's all the truth. We're going to find out a lot about truth stuff coming out. We also have Jupiter. Jupiter is in Aquarius. Well, Jupiter is, just think of a balloon blowing up, blowing up, blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. That's the energy of Jupiter. It's also good luck. It's abundance, but sometimes too much of one thing could be not so good, like you don't want to just keep piling on the weight if you're trying to lose weight, but it's good if you're trying to save up money for a down payment on a home or something, then it's nice to accumulate. So every little aspect of the astrology chart tells more information. So we have to pick and choose which words that we use to make it fit your particular life. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of having a nice reading, because it's fine-tuned for you. So, okay, we have Saturn and we have Jupiter. What else do we have going down to March and February? We have 0 degrees Venus. Well, whenever there's a 0 degrees, that's a new beginning. And Venus has to do with money, has to do with love, it has to do with personal possessions. It has to do with that feeling of, oh, everything is just beautiful. It has to do with beauty. All that is Venus energy. And so communities, groups are going to be focusing on money, beauty, resources, things, food, things that we could taste. So we might be going out, going into dining. So I see that this vaccine and the virus situation of lockdown and stuff is gonna dissipate. So that's my take on it. I'm not, I don't always like to do predictive astrology. I'd rather do it individually on your chart, but I could feel and sense, because I'm very intuitive and I have those kinds of gifts too. So I feel like all this is going to subside as far as the virus, and we're going to have more freedom. That's also Aquarius, the word freedom. So we're going to be free to enjoy our dining, to spend our money, to make more money, and things like that. That's for right now. And then, because it's at 0 degrees, then we have the Mercury in Aquarius, and we talked about that. We also have the sun in Aquarius. So that means, what's the sun? The sun is like the big spotlight, and that's where the focus is. So we have all these energies. We have money, food, resources, communication, networking. We have Jupiter, it's expanding, expanding. Then we have Saturn, which is responsibility and could also mean government and or any kind of government, that kind of stuff. So let's move now. The sun, our focus, and all those energies are in Aquarius. Isn't that amazing? So if you go into your chart and look and see, if you don't know how to find it, that's another video coming up for our do-it-yourselfers, where we're going to start from the very beginning. But I thank you again, and if you like this video, go ahead and share it with others. Subscribe to the channel so you know that you're going to get your video twice a week. We put them out, and I look forward to getting more of your questions. Feel free to email me. And if you ever want a psychic reading or even an astrology reading, whatever suits your needs, go ahead. You can schedule online, or you could give me a call or email. So if you'd like to see more information about me, what I did in my past lives on this earth, you could do so, because I was a closet astrologer and psychic, because it was just something that I had trouble telling people about. But I'm very fortunate to share my gifts with my clients, and it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So holistichealingastrology.com, and don't forget to request for your free newsletter. It will go right into your inbox. And check out our Instagram, Facebook posts. Have a great, great week. Thank you.